Hello, boys. We're back again. Welcome back to XYZ Media, the premier channel for spiritual warfare. This is a spiritual warfare channel. So I thought I should record something because probably for the next week or two I'll be pretty busy. Busy with my toil. You know, in my other video, I was telling to the viewer that if they can avoid it, they should avoid any toil. But that's not because I've managed to extricate myself from it. Not really. I'm still having to work. I am self-employed, so I guess I'm in some kind of middle ground. It does come with a certain amount of perks, none of which I take for granted. You can set your own schedule, you know. You can set your own rates, and your labor. There's like a direct feedback loop, you know. The more I do, the more I earn, and the less I do, the less I earn. But at the end of the day, it is a job, and somewhere around like 2023 or something, I quit my last sort of job, and I vowed myself to never have a CV again. Fuck CVs, fuck that shit. But you know, if you're self-employed, you basically just replace your CV with a portfolio, and you replace your boss with a bunch of clients that you need to service, you know. So it kind of amounts to the same in many ways. And you still find yourself in situations where most of your day is chewed up by this toil. And, you know, I don't do anything special. I know how to use a bunch of software packages, and I've basically memorized a bunch of button clicks and a bunch of keyboard hits to do a certain thing in sequence over and over and over again and charge money for it. So at the end of the day, I just take care of a lot of the busy work that other people just don't want to do. So there is a degree of independence. But you really got to ask yourself, does your time belong to you or not? Do you have most of your day to yourself, or do you have none of it to yourself? You know, is your day being chewed up by obligations to earn money, certain obligations to maybe relationships that don't serve you, this, that, and the other? Well, then what's going on, my guy? It's not a good state to be in. That's why I impressed upon the viewer that do what you can to extricate yourself from these things, you know, live life on your own terms. Anyway, one of my friends in the comment section was suggesting that I have lost my mind. In a way, maybe, yeah. But I would like to posit to you, my friend, that what you are seeing, in fact, is peak performance. I would like to posit to you that you have known me since 2015 when we met in the flesh as an insane person. And it is only now, after all these years, that I'm coming into some semblance of sanity. And 2015, in fact, was the worst fucking year of my life by far. Oh my days. It was a catastrophe. And we would have met around that time or slightly before that time. And yeah, that's a year to remember for me. I really lost my mind. And it took me maybe the next 5 years to figure out what the fuck even happened to me. And it was only around maybe like 2020 that I came online. Came online as in spiritually speaking, or whatever, however you want to put it. I took control of my life, you know, because up until that point, I was basically just like operating on autopilot, so to speak. And yeah, there was no rhyme or reason to it. In fact, if I contemplate my past, sort of going between the ages of sort of maybe 15 to about 25, 26, there's not much there that I can detect that one might describe with the word honorable. There's very little honorable behavior in anything that I was doing. I would say I was a fucking howling lunatic, a degenerate, a complete fucking degenerate. Large, large parts of my life from those periods elicit some like heavy emotions, shame even, you know. And I guess that's the burden I carry, of one of these anchors that I carry, and that's the thing for me to transcend, in the coming years. But yeah, from 2020 to 2025, I've been very busy. I've been very busy putting things together. And slowly I've started to see sort of life for what it really is, or what I think it really is. And consequently, I've realized that in the past, when you knew me and all the rest, I was kind of ill equipped to really live life as it should be lived. But that's all over now. I think I've kind of pulled myself out of the worst of it. But I was well on my way in those early years to becoming, God knows what, a worm. I was well on my way to becoming some kind of, God knows what, a tranny or something. No, I never contemplated that seriously, but I did joke to one of my other friends that had a couple of variables been perhaps different in my life, I could have ended up down some very dark paths, I'll tell you that, you know, because for whatever reason, my teenage years and my early 20s, I found myself to be a very like a brittle spirit, kind of like I was terrified of life, you know. Way back when I was like getting to be like late teenage years and that kind of thing, like I used to be one of these people that, for instance, I would be terrified of getting on the phone with strangers. I couldn't, for the life of me, call like a customer service line or some government agency to get my needs met or some shit like that. And and funnily enough, around like age 23, 24, 25 or something, I worked at a call center. I worked in a sales job, sort of high adrenaline. I'm calling people, trying to convince them to give up their money, and it turns out I'm fucking good at it too. What the fuck, you know? So all this to say, like I started deliberately to face certain demons, and you go out and you slay certain dragons and you get the treasure and all this kind of stuff. And I started to like build myself up. And you can surprise yourself. You kind of find that you have access to sort of reservoirs of strength that you didn't even know you had. And it's been interesting to see how far this can actually go. How much you can recover, and where is all this going, so for you asked if I have a vision for life. I do. And for the next 10 years, so let's say between 20 25, or now basically until 2035. Oof, I've got some plans, okay? And if I pull it off, the world just might not be ready for what's coming. I've got that other guy, Tom, looking at my channel as well, and he said something interesting on his channel the other day. He was like, on the one hand, he feels like he's like an old soul basically at this point. He's been there, he's done that. He got the T-shirt, you know, he's tired of it. He's ready to rest. But simultaneously, on the other hand, and keep in mind this man's only like 27 or something. Simultaneously, on the other hand, he feels like he's got things left to prove. He's got things left to see, things left to learn. And weirdly enough, I'm in the exact same position, I would say, at age 34. You know, like on the one hand, I'm like, fuck, man, like, I've seen it all. I've kind of done it all. I've met all the peoples of the world. I've read all the books. I've faced some demons, you know. I've had a chance to do that. I've overcome them, you know. And I'm like, what else is there, you know? I'm about like ready to clock out. But then on the other hand, I'm like, nah, man, I haven't even gotten started yet. I'm just getting revved up, man. Man, I haven't even started. There is so much left to do, so much to pursue, so much left worth pursuing that sometimes I'm just like overwhelmed by the weight of the possibilities, thinking about all this possibility, and like which way do I go? What do I do? So we'll see. But all this to say that I've had to undo a lot of damage. You know, this world seems to have disfigured me quite seriously at some juncture, and yeah, it took me a long time to figure out what the hell even happened to me. And at the end of it, I've concluded that there's not much else to say other than it's just this age that we live in. You know, it's this fucking Kali Yuga era that we're in that can really fucking lead you astray. You know, and you need some serious self-awareness and a lot of courage to boot to try and undo that damage. But I don't carry any sort of resentments towards people or anything like that, or like some like, you know, I told you I'm talking to Dave now. I'm like, I'm not some kind of activist or something. You know, I don't even think that my situation is such that, you know, like some people like to think that some government is at the fault of their condition or whatever. Like I'm not like that, you know. I embrace the solipsism. Basically, it's all on me, pretty much. You know, like your early conditions do certain give you certain positive aspects and negative aspects. Something's working for you, something's working against you. But at the end of the day, it's like down to you. So it's this fucking age that we're living in, and I guess I am full of some sort of like what I think is like some sort of righteous fucking anger against all of it, you know, and I am sort of feeling as if like I'm ready to go into a jihad against modernity or something, you know, but there's no personage or whatever, no people that I connect this to, you know. It's just myself. All this to say, like, I can't say that I feel victimized by anything in particular. Maybe only if we look at things again like these abstract notions of just the spirit of the times, you know. But the reason I say I'm not an activist, you know, like the macro currents of history or whatever, so to speak, these things are out of control, out of our control anyway. You don't have a say in the time of history that you're born in, and consequently how that shapes or this forms, disfigures your soul, my guy. You know, so you just gotta take it for what it is and become self-aware. Do what you can uh, to change yourself. That's it, you know, and maybe those around you. And I'm literally talking about motherfuckers in arm's reach. You know, maybe you can help a friend, right? Be, beyond yourself, you can contribute something to your friends or your family. But as for this whole, we gotta change the world and yada yada yada, seems kind of hopeless to me. So you say I've lost my mind? Yeah, I would say I'm gaining it back bit by bit, you know, and God willing, I'll actually pull something out of this god awful shitty mess called my life, at least as it is up until this point. Because, yeah, it's mostly felt like, I would say, yeah, between ages of like 15 to about 25 or something, life was basically like a retreat. A retreat, not in the sense of it was a vacation, a retreat as in the sense of a retreat from battle, you know? Whether it's down to nature and nurture, I don't know. But I would find myself in a position of I would refuse to like butt horns with life. Basically, I would never endeavor to put my head above the precipice. You know, I would cower away. I would just like cope max. You know, and instead of opting for aggression, not in terms of like violence, but sort of like in terms of life. Like you want something, yeah. So just go get it, okay? All right, my guy? It's that simple, you know? Like, what do men really want at the end of the day, anyway, in this life? In a big way, at least, it comes down to power, isn't it? They want power. And it doesn't mean you have to become the president of the universe or something like that. It just means, like, it's all relative and you can start small, okay? Do you have power over self, for starters, all right? Do you have full command of your time? Do you have command of your day, or do you find that most of it is chewed up again by these like obligations and stuff? This kind of thing. Are you good at something? Are you good at anything? Do you stand for something? Can you discern anything what one might call principles within yourself? You know, and do you ever put yourself to the test when it comes to these principles? You know, because when I was very young, I gotta say, I had none of those things, none whatsoever. So you become like this kind of leaf in the wind, just kind of being blown this way and that way. You are susceptible to peer pressure. You are susceptible to a shiny object syndrome. You are susceptible to being sort of unassertive and kind of pathetic. Really, you become this sort of lowly, pathetic kind of creature. You know, subject to all these other forces controlling your life. You know. So it's about power, boys. It's about I think it's about time all of us we just kind of started asserting ourselves a little. Okay, we started you know, take no prisoners. Don't be apologetic about fucking anything. Go for it. And and embrace the pain. You know, that's the one thing I refuse to do. Just to embrace the pain of all of it. Really, just fucking life. You know. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I don't really know what this video is. Something of an exhortation, I guess, to just get after it, you know? Stop fucking pussyfooting around, innit? I'll show you my surroundings. I'm at the auditorium.